far less is written about the cooks, about the cleaners, about the ground staff, and specifically about the nannies. Because Harry and Meghan do not closely care for their own children.
Can't manage with her children. She doesn't really know how to be with them. She does this sort of lovely smile like she might do to a friend.
The turnover in terms of the nannies and other domestic staff is huge. And this is not something new, by the way. I have been across this story since Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's time in the royal family. Look at this. June 2019, I revealed that Harry and Meghan had got through 3 nannies in just 6 weeks for baby Archie.
Something went down inside Meghan Markle's Montecito mansion, and it was never meant to get out. A woman who worked inside that house long shifts, early mornings, late nights, has finally spoken up, and what she's saying doesn't match the picture being sold at all, not even close. The whole happy, laughing, school-run, perfect family image, yeah, she says that's not what she saw behind those doors. What she describes feels completely different, quiet, tense, and honestly, kind of chilling. Stick with this, because by the end, you're going to be asking the same thing people everywhere are asking right now. What is really happening inside that mansion? Everyone already knows about the constant staff drama, the executives, PR heads, communications directors, chiefs of staff, people cycling in and out like it's nothing. At this point, it's not just surprising, it's starting to look wild. Over 20 senior staff members have walked away, and insiders are straight up calling it a Sussex Survivors Club. But here's where everything flips, because the media has been getting this completely wrong. Royal reporter Kinsey Schofield broke it down perfectly when she said, and this is a direct quote, "The media has badly miscalculated the Sussex's professional turnover because we're not counting their domestic staff." Let that sink in for a second. The names you hear in headlines, communications, directors, press secretaries, that's just surface level stuff. What you don't see is what's really stacking up underneath. The cooks, the cleaners, the housekeepers, the ground crew, and most important of all, the nannies. And this is where it gets messy. An insider told Schofield that the number of household staff leaving is way higher than anything the public has been told. Not even close. The way they described it, it actually became kind of comical during a certain period. It felt like every week there was something new. Every single week, someone else was gone.
Markle and Prince Harry are a total disaster when it comes to keeping domestic staff. And of course, we know for a long time that the executives in their business are leaving in droves, often making complaints in regards to their mental health. But far less is written about the cooks, about the cleaners, about the ground staff.
And then one former employee finally spoke out and summed up the entire experience with just one word. After working closely with Meghan Markle, they said it was dehumanizing. That's the word they chose. They even said, "I spent a lot of time with Meghan Markle, and the way she treated me can only be described as dehumanizing." And that says a lot. But here's the twist. It didn't start off like that at all. At first, everything seemed normal until it didn't. According to them, her mask dropped after just 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And that number keeps popping up again and again. Now things take another turn. A nanny job listing has surfaced. And it's not just any listing, it's a global search. And when you actually read what's being asked, it raises eyebrows fast. Harry and Meghan describe themselves as a loving and dynamic family. Their words, not mine. Dynamic, that word hits a little different depending on how you look at it. They're looking for a nanny for 2 children, ages 4 and 6, and the role calls for 50 hours a week. 50! That's already above California's standard 40-hour work week. Anything beyond that is supposed to come with overtime pay at a higher rate, but whether that's included? That part isn't clear at all. But this is where things start to feel next level. Just listen to what this nanny is actually expected to handle every single day. Morning routines, evening routines, school drop-offs, and pickups, which stands out because Meghan recently said in an interview that doing the school run is one of her favorite things. It doesn't stop there. managing the kids' full calendar, setting up play dates, organizing after-school activities, handling the children's laundry, keeping their spaces clean, bath time, bedtime. It just keeps going. And then it gets even more intense. The nanny has to be a strong swimmer to teach the kids how to swim. They need to teach bike riding, help with reading and writing, and this part really stands out. The listing even says they must be comfortable around dogs. So now you've got to ask the real question. What exactly are Meghan and Harry doing? Because this doesn't read like a typical nanny role at all. This reads like everything a full-time parent would normally handle. Every single responsibility you can think of, it's all packed into one job.
There was 23 employees who disappeared by October the 25th. I mean, it's terrible. But she does use, a lot of very rich people use 3 nannies a day. That's quite common if you've got that sort of money and you don't want to be bothered with a child.
Now compare that to William and Catherine. They've had the same nanny since Prince George was just a baby. 1 nanny, 3 kids, still there years later. That kind of stability speaks for itself. Harry and Meghan, multiple nannies, and they keep changing. Constant rotation, no stability, and now they're even running a global search to bring in yet another replacement. According to sources close to the situation, they're said to operate what's basically a 3-nanny rotation system. That means near 24/7 childcare coverage. So there's never a moment where the parents are fully handling things on their own. Now, to be fair, some ultra-wealthy families do have multiple nannies. It's not unheard of. But here's the key difference. In those homes, the staff actually stays. They build real bonds with the children. There's consistency, there's trust, there's a sense of stability that grows over time. What's being described inside the Montecito mansion? It sounds like the complete opposite. The rotation never slows down. People keep coming and going over and over again. And according to sources, it's not about better job offers pulling them away, it's about people choosing to leave. One former employee didn't hold back either. They said working there was unbearable. They even claimed, it's Meghan, she's unbearable, she talks down to people and is very condescending. And then like clockwork, 6 weeks pass, the shift happens, and another person is out the door. The pattern just keeps repeating. Meanwhile, the children at the center of all this, Archie and Lilibet, are the ones caught in that cycle, forming attachments and then losing them again and again. Experts in child development are clear about one thing. Consistency in caregiving plays a huge role in a child's emotional stability. It's not a small detail, it's foundational. And what's being described here feels like the exact opposite of that kind of steady environment. Now this is where the story takes a turn that's making people pause. A woman who worked inside the Montecito home has come forward with her experience. Long days, starting before sunrise and ending after dark, she saw a lot. She doesn't go over the top, she doesn't make wild claims. Instead, she carefully describes what it felt like to be inside that house. And what she describes isn't loud or chaotic. It's something else entirely. Silence, but not the calm, peaceful kind you'd expect in a well-run home. She describes a different kind of silence, something controlled, something that didn't feel natural at all, a guarded kind of silence. That's how she puts it. She talks about rooms that looked perfect, but not in a lived-in, loving way, more like untouched, almost frozen in place.
And you're being offered a big home within a mansion in Santa Barbara, but it's still such a miserable environment because of how unhappy the principals, Harry and Meghan in this case, really are.
Not the kind of clean you get from a busy family home, but the kind that feels like no one's really using the space. Playrooms that never seem to change. Children's beds that look barely disturbed. No toys scattered around, no little fingerprints, none of that messy, real-life energy you expect when young kids are around. She was there day after day, long enough to notice the patterns. She should have seen the normal rhythm of family life, the morning rush, the after-school buzz, kids running through the halls, laughing, calling out, but she didn't hear any of it. Not a sound. Didn't see any of it either. Instead, she describes the whole atmosphere with her exact words: structured, quiet. Almost like everything was carefully set up, staged even, as if at any moment someone could walk in or a camera could appear. Not a home being lived in, but a home being managed for how it looks. She says whenever Meghan appeared, everything shifted instantly. The whole energy in the house changed. Staff moved differently, more careful, more controlled. Not exactly fear, she explains, but something learned over time. Like everyone understood how they were expected to act in that environment. Then she watched the Netflix documentary, and that's when things really hit her. The warm moments, the garden scenes, the laughter, Meghan by the chicken coop, it all looked so relaxed, so natural. But she says she just sat there in silence because what she was seeing on screen didn't match what she experienced inside that house at all. Now, she does confirm the chicken coop is real. Meghan did go there, but according to her, it wasn't with the children. She says Meghan was usually alone or with staff. In her words, it felt like a space set up for visitors, for cameras, something meant to be seen a certain way. She describes it as a visual story about simplicity and domestic peace, but to her, it came across as a performance. She's also careful not to overstep. She admits there could be things she didn't see, moments she wasn't there for, but she keeps repeating the same point, calmly and clearly. During the time she worked in that home, the children were absent, not just occasionally, completely. No footsteps, no voices, no laughter, no signs of everyday life at all. Just that same controlled silence. This is where the polished public image starts colliding with what's being reported, and the contrast is hard to ignore. Meghan's own lawyer told Variety magazine that she works from home, is a mother of young children, and often has kids unexpectedly walking into her meetings. Let that really sink in for a second. The explanation being pushed is that she's so present, so hands-on, so involved that her children interrupt her work calls. That's the picture being painted. But at the exact same time, there's a global search happening for a nanny, a role asking for 50 hours a week of childcare. On top of that, reports describe a multi-nanny rotation system already in place. And let's not forget the setting. A massive estate, 9 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, with dedicated office space. So naturally, people are questioning how all of this fits together. One source reacted pretty bluntly to the lawyer's statement, saying, "This is nonsense. Meghan has a huge house with 9 bedrooms and 13 bathrooms, along with offices and multiple nannies. There is no way she's leaving an important call for kids. You can't have it both ways. That's what people are starting to point out. You can't present yourself as a fully hands-on parent, constantly interrupted by your kids during work calls, and at the same time have round-the-clock nanny coverage in place for those same children. It just doesn't line up. You can't tell Jamie Kern-Lima that the school run is one of your favorite parts of the day, and then bring in a nanny whose job is to handle those exact drop-offs and pickups."
It's never her fault. If
Never.
something goes wrong, she never says it's her fault. So she's always passing it on to one of her staff. And that's actually very upsetting for the staff. And they try I'm sure a lot of them try because they are famous and they do their very best. But then they come to the time when they say, I've had enough.
You can't promote the image of a warm, lively, family-filled home while people who've actually worked inside describe it as quiet, controlled, staged, and noticeably lacking the everyday presence of children. Those two versions don't fit together, and this is where the bigger issue starts to take shape. This isn't just about nannies or staffing choices, it's about consistency and credibility. Meghan Markle's entire post-royal identity has been built around authenticity, around telling her own story, being open, being relatable, a real mother, a real person, living a real life outside the institution she left behind. But then you stack everything up, the nanny situation, the constant staff turnover, the former housekeeper's account, even that job listing that reads more like a full parenting checklist. And piece by piece, it starts to raise serious questions about that image. Meanwhile, things behind the scenes aren't looking steady at all. Archewell is reportedly in chaos. Multiple senior communication staff gone in just a few months. PR experts are calling this level of turnover abnormal by any standard. One industry insider didn't sugarcoat it either, saying losing 5 senior communications advisors in under a year is something that simply does not happen in a healthy organization. And that Hollywood dream everyone expected is not exactly playing out. The Netflix lifestyle show reportedly landed way down at number 383 on the platform's own rankings. The big deals people expected, they're not showing up. The A-list circle that once seemed close, quietly fading away. Oprah silent. The celebrity friends from the wedding, nowhere to be seen. And in the middle of all this, another nanny leaves. Another search begins. Another NDA gets signed. Another person walks through those gates, spends time inside that home, and then eventually walks back out, taking with them everything they experienced and everything they didn't. And that woman who worked there, she's not demanding anyone believe her. She's not throwing accusations around. She's simply sharing what she personally saw. Rooms always perfectly tidy. Linens that didn't look used. Playrooms that never seemed to change. And a silence she couldn't explain. So take a moment and think about it. If a home truly matched the image being presented to the world, would the people inside it be describing something so different? If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see it. And drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is one people can't stop talking about.